Most researchers agree on the fact that the Golden Era of Tango began in 1930. By then, dancers had come up with incredible, sexy, and complex moves, and tango became accepted by the majority of the population in Argentina. Europe and the United States had been exposed to the new dance and embraced it. Both the music and the dance were featured in films. Tango had become a global phenomenon.
Volviendo a tu pasado, te acordarás de mí. Los amigos ya no vienen.
Back in Argentina, composers, musicians, and singers wrote and played songs left and right. More and more singers and orchestras performed nightly at every club and cafe in Buenos Aires. In part 1 of this video series, we talked about Carlos Gardel, who's considered the first international tango superstar by many researchers because of his success both in Argentina and around the world. His first tango recording in 1917 became an instant hit. Shortly after, he recorded other classics such as La Comparsita, written by Uruguayan musician Gerardo Matos Rodriguez with lyrics by Pascual Contursi and Enrique Pedro Maroni. Gardel spent the next decade traveling all across South America, Spain, and France. In 1932, he met Alfredo Lepera while working in Paris. Lepera was born in Sao Paulo, Brazil in 1900, but he grew up in Buenos Aires, like Gardel. Carlos Gardel and Alfredo Lepera became good friends and longtime collaborators. Together, they wrote and recorded a lot of tangos, many of which became classics, including Mi Buenos Aires Querido, Volver, and El Día que Me Quieras. Sadly, this friendship only lasted a few years, as both Gardel and Lepera died in the same plane crash on June 24, 1935 in Medellin, Colombia. Carlos Gardel had also acted and sang in at least 20 short and full feature films, which motivated other singers and performers to do the same. Tango researcher and historian Christine Deniston points out that this created an interesting phenomenon. Tango music began to separate itself from the dance, with some singers and musicians putting more emphasis in sounding and looking good for the camera rather than pleasing dancers. However, tango dancers didn't go away, and there were many other orchestras that provided music for their loyal fans. By the late 1940s, we had two types of tango, one that people could dance to, and another one that people listened and enjoyed on its own. In 1955, tango experienced its first drawback when the political climate in Argentina changed. President Juan Perón was overthrown in a coup, and the new regime didn't like tango because it was too nationalistic. Fearful of a new rebellion and political agitators, the government also banned meetings of more than 3 people in public places, which made dancing very difficult. Also, President Juan Perón had endorsed tango and Argentine music. Therefore, the new government blacklisted a lot of artists in the country for their connections to the previous nationalist president. At the same time, a new North American music craze was becoming very popular with young people.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Rock and roll came to stay, which meant that Argentina's youth was more interested in learning how to dance rock instead of good old-fashioned tango. Nevertheless, the world was not ready to give up tango yet. Both the dance and the music went underground. but they did make a comeback just a few decades later.